Demetrius has a high IQ.
I know.
If he laughs and he jokes and stuff like that, and people probably think like he's like the kind of guy that he probably don't get credit for him being smart in a boxing ring. You know, he's a little awkward with his movements, but that stuff works. He has a very, very high IQ. I can remember when he fought Vanis Manarose, he got knocked down with a weird shot in the first or second round. He never got hit with that shot again. Um, so he has a high IQ, and there's definitely things you can do to David. You know what I mean? But it's not my fight. I don't want to get in the middle of it. You know what I mean? But David doesn't defend certain things well. But the problem with it is, it's not so much the technical stuff. David Benavidez is a savage. He's an animal. You know, so you show any type of fatigue, you show any type of distress, you show anything, and he feeds off of that. He lets that shit go. He's very, 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 you know, and don't mean nothing to nothing. Caleb was look a little silly. He was missing shots. Caleb was trying to that he just kept going, kept going, kept going,
Yeah.
kept going. He
First
kept
five
going.
rounds, Caleb
First
looked
five
great.
rounds, Caleb looked great. Yeah, and he hit Caleb with a nasty body shot. He just kept going. He don't get discouraged. So the one weakness that I see with Demetrius is he starts out really good and it looks like he should be stopping these guys, and then he go the distance with them. And you're looking like, what the hell is happening? Where David kind of separates himself in performances because the guys that he looked like he should be stopping, he stops them. You know what I mean? With Demetrius, he can outclass a guy, but he won't get the stoppage. So if I was his coach, I would try to figure out why is it that you start out brilliantly the first 3 rounds and you light these guys up and then you go the distance with them. You know, so um, down the stretch is going to be interesting. From 7 to 12, Demetrius going to have to earn his money that night. But they both good kids. I like them both. May the best man win. But I think that's what it comes down to. Can he handle David down the stretch? You know, because Demetrius is not. He can box and he's athletic, but he's not a neat boxer. There's a little different. Shakur Stevenson is neat. I'm not gonna say he's sloppy, but Demetrius do things a little bit unorthodox. You know, he falls over sometime, and it works for him. You know what I mean? It works for him, but against David, you got to be careful with that stuff, man. One thing that I've realized against coaching against David is he's a better puncher to the body than he is the head. The guys that I had that fought him, they be like, he ain't like a lights out puncher to the head. He can punch, but it ain't like that stuff that numbs you, boom, and your whole face is numb. It's not like that. But he's constant, and all the punches are about the same amount of power, and he never stops, and he's always hitting you to the body. So I would have to. Demetrius' hands are all over the place when he fights. You know what I mean? They up here, they down here. So guys like that, you can hit to the body because they not sitting on the body shots. So stylistically, it's a couple of things that David could do to Demetrius, but I also see Demetrius being able to do some stuff to David as far as I will say this one thing: David don't defend the body well because he's kind of the way his body just is. Like he can't help his height. That's nature. So he really doesn't defend the body well. So I expect Demetrius to be able to land some good shots to the body, especially early. But I think Demetrius might lose concentration a little bit late in fights, to be honest with you, because every time I see him fighting, um, besides the Jack Koke fight, he really kind of pulls away from guys as far as points, but he don't. He knocked out Jason Quigley, that level of guy. But I'm talking about guys that's like trying to fight, like Damon Nicholson. He's a solid fighter, but
On the
somebody
way
of
out.
Demetrius' level, you kind of would think that they could stop Damon Nicholson. You know what I mean? Plus he hurt him early. You know what I mean? So you kind of feel like that Demetrius, and I've seen Demetrius do that a bunch of times. I just don't understand why. Um, but that will be a concern for me late in the fight. Like, why is he not being able to step on the gas pedal? And maybe he's a guy that don't want to chance his record, and that's perfectly understandable. Like, I got this undefeated record. I'm not a big draw, but if I can keep my undefeated record and keep building and keep building, I'm not not going to chance it if I'm up on points. And maybe that's what it is. But I still don't, you know, I think he would have got his big shot earlier had he put some of those guys away. You know what I mean? And been a little bit more exciting once he has a guy outclassed and he's up on points. Go ahead and, like Bud, Terrence Crawford, if he's up on points on you, he's outclassed, and he still try to knock your head off. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Demetrius is kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and box and get this decision. So, um, it would just be something that me and him would have to talk about if I was his coach. Like, why is it in the second half of the fight you don't push these guys over the edge? Because David Benavidez is a late water shark. He ain't the kind of guy you want to, have any trepidations with from 7 through 12, because that joker don't stop. He's very, very trusting of his conditioning. And that's the best thing about him, his determination and his will. He don't try to take nothing off. He just go. You know what I mean? And for all of his physical limitations and, things that people want to say about him, he makes up for it with his determination. He's a dog. He a dog. And fatigue brings fear out of everybody. Nobody feels like being tired, man. You got cousins back in the day, y'all spend the night, somebody put a pillow over your face. You're like, what? Get off of me. Nobody wants to be suffocated. Fighting David is like somebody putting a pillow over your face. He tries to suffocate you. So we gotta see. It's a terrific fight. Happy that Demetrius is getting a chance to prove himself. It's a tough task, and looking forward to seeing it.
Me too. Now the Devin Haney